Hey y'all, welcome back to Creating Hanley. My name is Kimberly at Creating Hanley, and in today's episode, this is a precursor to our Thursday video. We're doing some arts and crafts today. So, get out your cardboard. Alright, so in Thursday's upcoming video, we are going to, and I haven't created it yet, we're just starting to do it right now, but I'm going to create a love, L-O-V-E, love, placard or like hanging decoration, wall decoration, or like a little mini table runner or something along those lines for Valentine's Day. So this is not our block of the month. This is the off week. So I found this scrap that I made a block with last year, and I'm just going to use these two scraps because this year I'm trying to use the stuff that I have. So I found these two strip sets, and I figured I'm going to use this, and somehow I'm going to use this. So I thought, you know what, I'll just sew them down the center and create a little block like this, and then put like maybe an applique heart over top of it, or L-O-V-E, you know how you see that the two letters on top and then the two letters on the bottom, that creates one word. I actually don't like that. I don't know who started that, but that started a bunch of years ago, and it's just kind of weird. But anyway, I thought about doing that, and then I thought, well, if I put these together, this is definitely not going to be a block because now it's long. But if it's long, it could be a little mini table runner or just like a Valentine's decoration or something. Anyway, today is February 3rd at this recording of 2025. So I'm going to use that. And then we're doing a little paper crafting here. I'm going to show you what I'm doing with these letters. So, let's bring it down here. So I created these letters, L-O-V-E. So I don't know if this is going to be backwards in your video, but if it is, let me turn these around. Here we go. Okay. So basically, I just cut scraps of fabric from my batik stash, and so I'm just going to set these aside for now and focus on the letters. So I don't normally do this because this is a fussy stage and I don't like to do extra steps, but for this episode I figured, might as well. So where did I get this cardboard? This is just like a thinner type of cardboard. Where did I get this? I got that from saving fat quarter bundles. Yes, I saved the cardboard from fat quarter bundles, and they come wound up on this cardboard, and it's sold in stores like this. Some stores, I'm sure probably not all, but if you've bought any from a big box store, you know what I'm talking about. I saved this cardboard. People probably just toss it in the trash or into the recycle bin. I shove it on a shelf, and people probably think I'm weird, but you know what? It came in handy today. So, yes, I save this stuff because you never know when you're going to need cardboard to make a project, right? People probably think I hoard. I have been told I was a hoarder by somebody I used to date, and all I'm doing is I'm saving things. I don't buy it on purpose and then shove it on a shelf. I already bought this. It came with a piece of fabric, so I'm just going to hang on to it. And that's called pack rat, not hoarding. There's a difference. All right. So anyway, boop, put that back on my shelf up there. So, let me show you. They come in this size. So, this size happens to be 5 1/4, almost 5 inches. So it's not quite 5 inches, 5 1/4 by 4 3/4, whatever. Some squares can vary, I guess. This is 5 1/4 by 5 1/8. They vary. So with this size, that's what sort of what determined the size of my letters. So this also determines, so this is 3 strips. I don't know if they're jelly roll strips. I believe they're 2.5 inch strips. So these are 2.5 inch strips. So 3 jelly roll strips high. And that makes 6.5 inch unfinished, because you have unfinished edges here. So that's 6.5 inches. And so when it's finished in something, it'll be 6 inches. So when I use this is 5 inches almost square. And so I thought, you know what? Let's make the letters kind of big like this. And so I can fit 2 on one of these. And it doesn't help that you don't know the length. The length happens to be 11 inches. So the length of this is 11 inches. It's random, guys. It's random, okay? This is left over from a block from last year. So if you want to do this, you can. Now, the other one is opposite of that. If you take a look, the colors are opposite, okay? So, but I'm going to go with it because I think it's cool. You can make one long strip. Now, 11 inches plus 11 inches, because these are the same, is 22 inches. Now, when you attach these together, this is going to be a little bit shorter because I have to attach these 2 together, right? But if you want to make your strip set, just straight all the way across, it comes out to 22 inches. And this is 3 strip sets, so this is 6.5 inches unfinished. All right, that is where I got my idea for measurements. And then I found, I just decided I'm going to use these, and these are about 5 inches. So it works out perfectly if you look at this, and you can fit that on there just fine. There's enough even for a seam allowance. There'll be just a sliver of fabric showing once you put this into, finish the edges, once you push this into a bigger thing. So like finish it or bind it or whatever. I thought that was perfect. So what I did then was I kind of made it a little bit more symmetrical. So I cut this down to 4.5 inches by 5 inches. I believe I made this 4.5 inches and 5 inches. Let me double check that. That doesn't sound right for a second. 4.5 by 5. Okay, yeah. So I made, not 4.5, I'm sorry. Oh, that's where the ink is coming from. All right. So I made it 4 by 5. 4 inches by 5 inches. So this letter E is 4 inches wide by 5 inches tall. Okay, 5 inches tall by 4 inches wide. And that, if you look, fits on here pretty nice. Okay, so that's what I did. Now, once I had that square, so here's what I did. I just made 4 squares the same. I just came over here and I measured out 4 inches and 5 inches, and I drew a line and a line. So there's my 4 inches by 5 inches. Okay. This is 4 inches by 5 inches. And then I cut out 4 of these squares. So you just cut on the line, and then you have 4 exact squares. And then from there, I decided that I want my letters to be kind of chunky. So I made this 1.5 inches. This is 1.5 inches. So is this, and so is this. On the E, I brought this in 1/2 inch just to kind of make it like, I don't know, a little bit different. E, right? You don't have to bring this in, but that's what I did. So the very first one I did was an L, right? So I don't know, is that backwards to you, L? So I made my L, and I made, 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch, and that was really easy. So what I did on the back, from the square, right? From the square, I just came over 1.5 inch and I drew a line here, and then I measured 1.5 inch up from here and I drew a line here, and where it intersected is where I stopped cutting, right? But you can see on here I kind of like drew the line all the way down, and then here I drew the line in, and that's where I knew to stop. That's where I knew to stop, because that was the turning point, the 90-degree to make the L. It's pretty simple, okay? I did the same thing here. With the E, I made sure that these were all 1.5 inch, including in the middle, which gave this a very small section, and I thought that's okay. I didn't necessarily want more white space in here. So that's kind of why I brought this in, just to make it like a little bit more white space. And then the O was easy too. Where's the O? The O is easy. Now cutting it was a little bit difficult because I had to get my scissors, like poke it through the cardboard and then chip away at the center. But I just drew in 1.5 inches and drew a line. I measured in 1.5 inches, I drew a line. I turned this, I measured in 1.5 inches, I drew a line. Same thing here, drew a line. And then where those 4 lines intersected in here, that's where I knew where to cut out, okay? You can see I did a crappy job cutting out, but you can tell, you know, here's the overdraw that I did. And then right where those 2 intersected is where I stopped drawing on that one, okay? So those were relatively easy. And then the V, and then I had a little deciding what to do. So this is the first V I made. It looks fine, right? It looks all right, but this is the second V I made. So I don't know, which one do you like better? Now, the first V is 1.5 inches at the top, 1.5 inches at the top, okay? But as it tapers down, so what I did on the back, and I don't know, let me see, would that have been the same? No, that would not have been the same. Okay, so what I did on the back, on this one, is I did a lot of measurements here. But I made the first, so when you get your square, when you get this square, cut out. So when you get this square, what I did was, you know what, let me just cut this out so it's better for you. So we're doing a little bit of paper crafting today. Not normally what I do on this channel, but, so here's your 4x5 square. Now, with this one, I use the edges, the corners. Oh, let me get this up there. Okay, so I cut right at the corner, and then here, what did I do? So I found the middle of this line right here. I found the middle, and then from that, I moved over so this is 1 inch. So I moved over 1/2 inch, and then I moved over another 1/4. Okay, so this whole line is actually 1.5 inches. The same measurements of this, the same measurements of this, the same measurement. You get what I'm saying, right? It's still 1.5 inches. So it aligns with all the other letters. So this is 1.5 inches. The same with here. I moved in 1.5 inches, drew a mark. Moved in 1.5 inches and drew a mark. And then this line right here was the halfway point between on the side. So this is actually 2.5 inches. So this mark here was 2.5 inches. So originally what I was going to do was bring the point of the V down here and then draw it back up. And then I thought, no, that looks a little chunky, like it doesn't really look like a V. And so I thought, you know what, I'll come up 1.5 inches from here, and that's where I'll stop my V. And then so that's what I did. I hope that makes sense. But if you look here at this width and this width, it tapers in from the top, so it's no longer 1.5 inches all the way across. This is 1.5 inches up here, but then this tapers in, and this is no longer 1.5 inches. So I thought, I don't know, it doesn't look bad, right? It doesn't look bad if I flip it over. It looks like a V. It doesn't look bad. However, I'm not happy with that. This could be a doll's pants, and these could be bell bottoms if you wanted to do that. So I wasn't happy with this, okay? But I did stay within the parameters of the 4 by 5 inch. And then I thought, no, I want to make sure that these V arms are 1.5 inches thick all the way down. So that's where I came up with this. So this again is halfway point from the top to the bottom. So that's 2.5 inches. But then when I drew, so here's what I did. I took my 1.5 inch ruler and I kept it on this edge. So I kept the line right along that edge, okay? And then I drew the 1.5 inch over. So it's 1.5 inch over, okay? So actually it looks like this. Here's what I did. And it doesn't help that I have this blue tape on, and I guess I don't really need this blue tape on for this video. I'll just put that there. So this is the extra 1/2 inch on this ruler. So what I did was measured the V along that line, right? So this remained 1.5 inches. And I did the same thing on the other side. So I measured up that straight edge, and then I made sure that this V was on the 1.5 inch mark. And then I drew a line down on the one side, and then I drew a line down to meet the other line, if that makes sense, the other measurement. And then I stopped right there, and that's where I cut out the V. So that's why this bottom is more chunky than the other one. So there's 3 ways. You could still use this 2.5 inch mark and then just bring your point down to here, okay, instead of all the way down to there. So there's 3 ways that you can make your V. I'm sure there's other ways you can make your V too. All kinds of ways you can make your V. But that's the rationale that I used. Now this is a chunky V. This is a much more skinny V. The other one would have been a little bit more chunky too, but still have a deeper V, like a deeper cut. So it's up to you how you want your V to look, how you want any of your letters to look. But that's the rationale that I used behind mine. So now I have my paper, my cardboard templates that I'm going to use on these scraps that I cut out specifically to get like contrasting colors to this. So they would stand out. And now all I'm going to do is applique the letters on top of this piece of fabric. That's all I'm going to do. So that's what I wanted to show you today in this video, how to cut out your letters. You can use whatever measurements you want, but that's what I did. Okay, and then I just kind of placed it on the fabric that I wanted, and you can't really see through the cardboard, but I have an idea of what it's gonna look like underneath. Okay, so then you pick your fabric, and I have all different scraps, 4 different scraps, and I'm just gonna applique, just gonna place them on top. So that's gonna be the next video. Okay, so go ahead and make your cardboard cutouts if you wanted to do this video, if you wanted to do this project, LOVE, and I'll see you back on the next episode. All right, part 2 is coming up. I'll see you then. All right, guys, have fun. Bye.